Today we are here to talk about personal interviews. So basically, last time we have discussed effective audiovisual aids, confidence, knowledge, delivery, relevance, accuracy, expressions, postures, appearance, eye contact, gestures, body language, pronunciation. We are going to talk about how to deal with personal interviews. Basically, there are internal customers and external customers. For example, for a company, employees are internal customers and clients outside are external customers. And they need people to hire who can manage all these customers. And for this, they want to take a group discussion and personal interview to filter out who is the best applicant. Group discussion is about 12 to 15 people sitting in a room in front of a panel of people and trying to discuss a topic which is given to them. While a personal interview is about one person coming for the interview and others going and checking and questioning him and asking him lot of weird questions, sometimes formal technical questions, sometimes personal soft skill related questions. So let's start with interviews. Interviews is a two-way process wherein there is an interviewee and there is an interviewer. The interviewee is the person who has come to take the job, who has applied for the job. An interviewer is the employer who is interviewing the interviewee. Basically, interviews are for formal or informal reasons. Formal can be what? Formal is about jobs, higher education, research projects, meeting clients, official meetings with the boss. These are formal interviews. Informal are during marriage when there are boy-girls meeting for marriage, or there are celebrities or sports person who is giving an interview just casually. Also, interviewer and interviewee have to come with some preparation. It does not happen on the spot. So first we will cover the types of interviews. There are many types of formal interviews which we will be covering now. They are directional interview, non-directional interview. Directional interview is about focusing on one topic or one specific job profile. Non-directional interview is about covering a lot of job profiles in one interview. There is stress interview wherein the candidate is forced to answer difficult questions and is forced to listen to a lot of questions pouring in from the panel coming from the different sides, and the candidate gets stressed and hypertensed. How will he answer all the questions? So basically, the candidate has to realize that it is a stress interview and you have to answer one by one and you have to prioritize which question is important. At the end of the stress interview, the candidate is told that this is a stress interview. Also, there is telephonic and online interviews which are at vogue today because people don't have time to travel. So the first round of the interview happens on the telephone. The second round of the interview might happen on Skype, online. Online interviews help to save the traveling time and it is faster to filter out which candidates are good for the position. Also, there is one-on-one interview where there is only one interviewer and one interviewee. There is panel discussion or panel interviews. There are 3 to 4 people interviewing a candidate. Out of that, one person might not ask any questions because that person is just checking the body language, expressions, gestures and comfort level of the candidate. There are other interviews like grievance interview. Basically, when there is an issue with the employee happening in the office, it might be a conflict with a colleague or he is not able to understand what he has to do, he might have a grievance. There is another kind of interview which is called exit interview. When an employee is leaving the organization, this exit interview is taken to take a survey and feedback of the employee who is leaving the job. The other types of interview are mock interview and selection interview. Mock interview is about a demo interview where the candidate is just trained how to give an interview, which usually a teacher takes with students, and selection interview is the final interview wherein the candidate is taken to the HR head or the technical expert or the HOD of the department in which he is applying. That leads to a final selection. And there is an appraisal interview which is very important. Appraisal means you are evaluating the qualities of a candidate, or you are giving him feedback about issues happening with the candidate. An appraisal interview happens once in 6 months or once in a year. Basically, it happens in all medium and large organizations. In small organization also, informal appraisals may happen from time to time. An appraisal interview decides whether you will get a promotion or you will get a demotion or you will continue in the same position, whether your salary will be increased or it will not be increased, or whether you will be given a lot of feedback about change in behavior, attitude, or it can be any other thing. Also, aptitude tests that are held. Interviews can be for 10 minutes or up to 45 minutes. For example, if it is a first round, second round, it will be shorter. But if it is the final 2 rounds, it can be longer and total time can be half day also. So go prepared with your tiffin and water bottle. Again, we will see that what an interviewer expects or what a preparation an employer should do before the interview. The employer should be very clear about the profile. What are the benefits that the candidate is going to have once he joins the company. Also, he has to aim to find a suitable candidate who goes with the company's culture and background. Otherwise, it will be a lot of problem in the future. Also, he has to match the education and the skills of the candidate with the requirement, with the job description. So basically, once these 2 things match, there is a success, there is a mutual understanding. Also, after the CV has been assessed, the employer has to do a background check. A reference check is very important to see whether the employee has not been removed for unscrupulous reasons or because of lack of integrity or because he has been defaulting on something. So reference check is basically calling the previous employer and checking about the whereabouts and qualities of a candidate. The employer gives ratings to the candidate. These ratings can be poor, good, excellent, and these ratings are confidential. It is not supposed to be shown to the candidate. Also, the employer has to remember that the company has a goodwill which the employer needs to maintain even during interview process. The tasks and responsibilities which the candidate is going to hold, that is clarified in details by the employer. The performance measures on what parameters he will be judged throughout the year, that also is disclosed during an interview. The growth plans, the continuous feedback evaluation process, the behavior, the rules and regulations, everything that is expected from a candidate. The employer is actually supposed to set examples for the employee. Also, the employer checks the short-term goals and the long-term goals of the candidate. So a candidate might be thinking that within a year he wants to learn about certain things and then he wants to become a manager. Similarly, the employer also has to decide that within next 5 years what will be the hierarchy that the candidate will follow and how his career growth will happen. And why is he attracted to the company, that an employer needs to find out. Whether it is the working environment or it is the salary or it is the boss or because there are friends who are working over there. So these reasons have to be found out by the employer by asking questions.
Subscribe full subject at www.info.com.